So what we have learned? We have learned what is Git and GitHub. So now you know the basic difference between Git and GitHub. So Git is a version control system which lets you work on your local machine, and GitHub is a web service that creates repositories on the web. So we have learned how to download and install Git. We have also configured username and email on Git Bash. Then we have signed up and registered on GitHub and created our profile. So these are the things we have learned and done till now. So what next? Next we are going to create a GitHub repository, and then finally we'll learn some Git commands. So let us create a GitHub repository. Now to put your project up on GitHub, you'll need a repository for it to live in. So now in the upper right corner of any page, or you can go to your profile page and click on the right side corner of this and click plus sign, and then you can click new repository. After this you will see this page, create a new repository, and here you can give the name of your repository. Give some name and describe about it. There is the description, which is optional. Then you have an option to choose between this public and private. Now if you want to create a public repository, then they are going to be visible to any user on the GitHub. If you're going to create a private repository, they require a little more setup, and also they are only available for paid accounts. Next you will select initialize this repository with a readme. So this will let you immediately clone the repository to your computer. We'll select this option, and then finally we'll click create repository. So after you click, you'll get this page, and congratulations, you have created a new repository, your first repository. In this you can see the name of the user, the name of the file you have created, name of the repository you have created, and this is the readme file you can see here with the description given here. So after you have created a repository, now next we'll do is we want to create a copy of repository or a repo on our computer. So first step is, now open the Git Bash. We have talked about Git Bash in our last lectures, that you can open the Git Bash. It's a command line environment. Now the next step is we'll create a directory. We'll create this directory using mkdir command. Type this on this bash and press enter. Your directory will be created. Next you want to navigate to this directory. So this is cd command change directory, which will navigate you to the hello world directory. After navigating to this directory, we want to initialize a local Git repository. So what does this git init do? Git init will create a .git subdirectory and create a Git repository in your local machine. So this will create a Git repository in your local machine. When you type this and press enter, it will say initialize empty Git repository in your folder. It will create a subfolder here .git. Next step is, now we want to point this local repository or repo at our remote repo, which we have created just now in our GitHub. So you will just copy the link https github your username helloworld.git. This is your repository name. You will just copy this link from the GitHub site and paste it here with the command git remote add origin, and this is the link where we have created the repository. Okay, now this will point our local repository to that remote repository which we have created on the GitHub site. Okay, now we'll talk about how to clone a repository located at my remote location onto the local machine. So from that remote location, I want to clone that repository to my machine. So what will I do? I will type this command git clone, and simply I will just copy this link from the GitHub site and press enter. So you can see something like this happening. It will be cloning into hello world from the remote machine to the local machine. So this is how we are going to create a repository and clone a repository. Next we'll be talking about some of the Git commands and go a little bit deep and what the Git flow is. So if you have any queries, you can post it in our question and answer section. Thanks a lot.